Hello, everyone. Hello. I am gonna wait a couple of seconds. I know that some of you might not be able to make it live, but welcome to the room if you are here. This conversation is uber important to me. This is what my business is quite literally built on, and why I have been able to move as quick as I have. Or for a lot of people, it might seem like it's quick. A little bit about me, if you guys are new here, I know that some of you that purchased have not been in my world before. My name is Carol, and you might remember me as Last Chance Artistry. I am originally from East Coast, moved my business all the way to Scottsdale, Arizona. In the midst of the pandemic, I was able to have my books fully closed, travel trainings booked out in a matter of a year and a half into moving to Arizona. I have been able to build my business from ground up 3 times in 3 different areas, and really like the whole point of me telling you this is to kind of just give you a little bit of context of what I have been able to accomplish, what I have been able to do in a really short amount of time. And then last year, I decided to say screw it all, and I closed my salon down, sold everything, and completely put my business online. And over the last 10 months, I have been able to scale to 6 figures with just being full-time online. So if there's anything that I know, it's business. If there's anything that I know, it's mindset. And if there's anything that I teach and what my business foundation is built on, is the mix between energy and strategy. I genuinely believe that you cannot have one without the other. And that has become very evident in my business. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a background story. But this isn't your average positive mindset masterclass. I just want to throw that out there. I'm not here to sell you a quick fix, feel good, fluffy bullshit. I don't do that. I am here to remodel your belief system when it comes to mindset in general. And I'm here to role model what it actually takes to turn your mindset around or improve your already good mindset. I'm sure majority of you here, you already have done some mindset work, but I think a lot of the times it misses like the underlying currents and like applicable steps for your business and just for your life in general, in order like how to actually apply it. Because you'll like see books and things of like all like what do like wealthy people, like all wealthy people have in common, and it's just like very surface level, where I really want you to start looking at your life from a different lens. I want you to take all the examples and like intricacies that I'm going to lay out in this masterclass and go apply it to your life every single day. This is not that you watch this today. Like I really want to tell you this and be very straightforward with this. This is not that you'll watch this today and like, boom, you have a good mindset. That's not how it works. It has taken me years and years and years to actually grasp this concept. So this is not something that you just do once. This is something that you apply every single day, every situation that comes up for you. You'll hear a certain phrase over and over in this class, and you'll know what it is. And I'm doing that for a reason and for a purpose, to really just subconsciously really hone it in there. I want you to feel the change within you. Like I want you to be able to start pointing out certain areas in your life and business that you see and you're like, aha, I am doing that. And you're actually able to pinpoint it and have the awareness where the problem is, and actually move past it and be able to solve it, instead of doing what you normally always have done and going into the same like reactive response. So a little bit of a story time for you. I used to think, this is so naive of me. I used to think if I just had the strategy in my business, if I just knew how to do something, I would be good. This started with lashes. Like if I just got good at lashes, like my books would be full. False. If I just knew how to sell, I would be able to sell out all of my programs. False. If I just knew how, no. If I just knew something, I would be good. It's a very fixed mindset. It's very And this is something that I have not struggled with, but this is one of my downfalls where I am very practical. And like when it comes to like business decisions, I'm very analytical, and I used to view my business through a very one scope lens. Get better, be the best, AKA the doing lens. That's just what I knew how. And like what I correlated success to, it was doing more instead of being more, and we're gonna get into that. If I just did it, I would have the results. But do you ever feel like no matter how much you do, somehow it isn't enough and you just plateau anyways? You're like, I did all the things. I've done it all. Like, I've taken the courses, I've hired the mentors, I've showed up, I've read the books, I eat clean. What gives? Over the last 2 years, it has become very relevant on how false that approach was. And I think it was even more like very blaring, like in my face over the last 10 months. And like many, like when they think of mindset too, they think of like, oh, if you just like think positive thoughts, if you just have a better attitude, and like if you want to punch them in the face too for saying that, raise your hand, because like that's just really annoying, outdated bullshit science that like the internet gurus love to tell you. The truth is that mindset is actually part of your identity. And you hear me talk about identity work quite a bit if you have been in my world. It's the part of you that deals with adversity or doesn't deal with it. Like, have you ever wondered how some people can just face a problem and not have mental breakdowns, and you're like, how are they doing it? Versus some minor inconvenience throws them off kilter and ruins a whole day. And then some play into those same problems over and over and over again. Wild, right? Like, think of people that you know in your life that just handle life. They're like, yeah, like, she freaking got it, he freaking got it. And then you have like friends or people or family members that are very neurotic in your life. They're like, oh my God, like one thing went wrong. Somebody cut them off. A friend was mean to them, blah, blah, blah. And like their whole world is just like blown up over something very minor that you're like, that's really not that big of a deal. It's an identity thing, and we're going to get into that. So obviously, yes, that's going to be your mindset, but more about who you are that like navigates through it. I am the person that just does the thing. That's something that I have took me 8 years to figure out. I am just the person that does the thing. I am the person that like moves through stuff. I don't need to be motivated. I thought that I relied for a really long time on outside circumstances. I relied on other people. I relied on like quick highs, quick fixes, quick everything, because I thought that was the solution. And now I don't need to see something that like springs me into action or into a healthy mindset. I am that. I am the one that. Finish that sentence with the person that you're going to be instead of who you are. I am the one that gets it done regardless what excuses I bring. I am the one that. Who are you? I have done, I don't want to say a case study, but I really love patterns. I love data. I just love like, it's just looking at people sometimes on, I don't want to say on a numbers level, that's not what I mean, but why some people can really deal with problems and some people can't, and who they are intellectually, mentally, physically, and like what actually sets them apart. So I have had dozens of private clients, and we often move through the same like things: business foundation, scaling, mindset, growth, content. I'm just going to throw those out there. Content. Let's get into content, and I'm going to kind of tell you like how all of this like plays into mindsets. And one thing that I notice that like the people that have like a growth mindset is they love failure. Some of my clients love failure as it's a way for them to learn something new, and others not so much, because it can bring up periods in their life where failure wasn't an option. Can you pinpoint in your life where failure was not an option for you? as a child, maybe as a teen, maybe competitive sports. Your parents expected a lot from you. So you grew up with very much of like, I have to be this in order to be worthy, in order to be seen. Could this be playing out in your business currently and holding you actually back from growth? Or in your personal life? Think relationships, friendships, how your kids respond to you if you have children, your community, things that you're a part of. Can you see certain things coming up for you? So that leaves me wondering with the whole content portion of it. Content is something that I teach pretty much all of my private clients. This is something that's like, it's just part of, like, you need to be able to create good content, period, like in order to survive in business. That's just the bottom line. And some people, some private clients that I've had, they're like head on, like, yep, let's do it. Let's talk about it. I'm so excited. Like, let's get on with it, right? Like, teach me the ways, like, teach me what's up, teach me how it's done. And some immediately, no, I'm not good at content. I can't do content. I'm not really sure what to post. They go into this like tunnel vision of like why they can't do something, versus the clients that have a responder growth mindset. They're like, okay, tell me like what to do. And content, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because it's a really simple example on how people deal with like difficult things that they need to do in their business. Sometimes content can be really difficult for some people in their business. It can be a really big hurdle. And for some, content is like, oh, whatever, like, let's just figure it out, like, not a big deal. And it just leaves me wondering, like, why? And when I look at the characteristics of the people in my world, in my private clients that are like, yep, let's do it, I also see how they live their life and how they respond to other challenges in their life, which is really silly because you're like, it's just content. But I also see how they handle hard days. I see when they actually have breakdowns and over what those breakdowns are, like what's the actual cause of the breakdown. Versus clients that are like struggling with content, they go into this like fight mode immediately and they like shut down. It's a very fixed mindset. I am not good at content is like their foundation. How can you build something healthy, something thriving, something good, something beautiful on a foundation that you have put yourself on that you can't even grow on? And then that plays into other aspects. Like I see it happening in their personal life too, where how they deal with disagreements, how they deal with their spouses, their children, what they're stressed out over, what do they make into a problem that really doesn't even need to be a problem in the first place. It's very interesting. And this is like a little like correlation that I ended up making probably 6 months ago. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I really just started to pick my my private clients apart because I spend a lot of time with my private clients. It's easier to do on that capacity because I almost talk to them not every single day, but consistently on like weekly basis. There's a lot of things that we work through, so it's easy to be able to like see the correlations. And then I notice other stuff that comes up for them, like how do they handle their bad clients? How do they handle students not showing up? How do they handle running their like first program that they're like so scared over? Like I just like see their like energetic print almost in their identity and who they are like fundamentally and foundationally. So some people love failures because they view it as a growth opportunity, versus some people cannot even fathom because they make it mean something about themselves, and it goes into like, I'm not good enough immediately. Like it comes like this like whole identity thing that they're like, they're not worthy. So what mindset can like turn a failure into a gift? That's what I wonder. Because like intellectual skills can be cultivated. And that's what we're doing today. Getting smarter mentally, emotionally, so you can handle life and business rationally and save yourself headaches and heartaches too, hopefully. It's scientifically proven that we as humans, we love to learn. Like we love like the whole development. We love to thrive. We love experimenting. And I think, well, I know I've like read into this that each person has like a unique print, obviously. Like they're like whole like genetic like components. And many start with different temperaments and aptitudes in where they're at in their like personal journey. So that's something that I always keep in mind too, like people's backgrounds, like what they have been through, like how they are essentially as a student. Like that's something that I always look into. But the bottom line is it's still very evident and clear, like regardless of your background, like regardless of anything, like your personal effort takes you like the rest of the way. The view that you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. I am the one that has lasting results. I can navigate myself out of anything that's thrown my way. And if I don't know how, I will learn. I am the one. I want to talk about two different types of people, two different types of students, essentially. You have the reactor or the reaction, and then you have the response or the responder. Responder being healthy, reactor not so healthy. So I have a little scenario for you. If you're listening to this and just maybe doing chores around the house or whatever, I just want you to envision yourself in this scenario. It's Monday. 7 a.m., your car stalled out. Your student still hasn't paid the invoice, and now your bank account is rather low. Your mother-in-law is making you absolutely insane, and your kids won't stop screaming. And you're at your wit's end, and it's only 9 a.m. What is the first thing that came to mind when I said these things? Maybe slight anxiety? I can't do anything right. Who's upstairs that does not like me? Life is unfair. I swear this always happens to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did the world collapse or... right? Like all of these things, very much annoying. Absolutely. Are these people with low self-esteem or just flat out pessimists? No. When they aren't coping with failure in their life, they feel just as worthy as anyone else. I mean, I would be too if I I would be annoyed too, right? Like that's like not a good day. That's not a good start to anyone's day. We can all agree with that. But what if 2 out of those 4 or 5 scenarios you had a handle on? 2 out of those 4 scenarios you had a handle on. It wouldn't feel as overwhelming, right? Yeah, you'd be annoyed, but you're like, hey, I got this because you have more capacity to deal with those situations. Does that make sense? You actually would have the more capacity. So this starts with what I said in the beginning. It's like the rule of one. Always the rule of one. You have to be able to learn how to handle one thing so you can handle another, and it's a trickle effect. Now, so this was the reactor, the reaction. What if, from a different lens, the responder? If I gave this exact same scenario to someone that has worked on their mindset, aka someone that would respond, it would look something like this. I need to write down my car appointments in my calendar and not brush them off. That could be the first, like, I need to actually just get better at this. Like, I knew that this was a problem. I need to, like, be aware, the self-awareness of, like, I need to take care of this. Because nobody hates you. Your car doesn't hate you. Like, this doesn't always happen to you. It's the fact that you didn't write it down and take care of it when you knew that it was a problem, right? So I just need to write down my car appointments and, like, make sure that I go and get my car serviced. Or I need to come up with a clearer way to enforce my boundaries and policies in which things are due by when it comes to students. There is a solution of the response. And it's time to pull my monster-in-law aside and have clear communication in how involved she can be in our lives and kids. For example, this is all example, right? If you have a mother-in-law, you need to have a conversation with her. You cannot just brush it off. And I don't know, I don't have kids. But if I did, this is what I would think. Can I be more proactive with them and notice any patterns when they start to get fussy? Maybe feed them sooner or have playtimes at different parts of the day? Like, is this always a pattern? Are my kids stressed because I'm stressed because they can sense that I'm stressed? What's the underlying current here? How can I take care of myself maybe better? So my kids wouldn't be fussy and cry. Okay? You don't like have to have one mindset to be upset, by the way. Like, who wouldn't be upset if you had a day like that? Yet the people with the responder mindset weren't throwing up their hands, even though they felt as upset and as like distressed. But they were able to confront the challenges head on. This is a choice. And this isn't a novel idea, right? Like, this isn't anything new that you haven't heard before. What I described to you basically is Rome isn't built in a day, right? You all heard that saying. Responder, aka growth mindset. Risk and effort are two things that might reveal your inadequacies and show you that you were not up for the task, in fact. And actually, it's startling to see the degree to which people with the reactor mindset do not believe in putting in the effort to get help. That always blows me away. So going back to content and my private clients and like having the little like study that I did, I would ask questions like, what do you need help with? Like, how can I support you through this? I don't know. I don't even know where to start. Like, it's very like, literally the world is not on fire. This is just content, but they're very like frantic from the get-go. I'm like, okay, I need you to take a step back. See, when was the last time you actually enjoyed content? And this is just an example, right? Oh, like when it wasn't forced. Okay, awesome. So why are we forcing it? And then the unraveling starts. And then there's insane pressure and expectation. And then we get into deeper, like it goes way, way, way deeper. And then we normally come to a solution, and then content ends up being fun. Just one part of the process, one part of this whole puzzle piece. But a lot of the times, like, it's the risk and effort are two things that might like not be lining up, and somebody that is in a reactive state, they just might not feel like it's like worth getting the help, versus the people that are in the growth mindset, they're going to ask for help. When I mentor, the focus is always development. This is not a time to be perfect. This is not perfection. This is not like I need to be the best. This is just about development, period. The rule of one. If you are in my world, a private client, I always talk about the rule of one. A really good example of how this actually plays out is like in real life is you take programs that promise you X, Y, and Z. Use this program for an example. And you sign up because you're like, oh my God, this is so me. I'm so inspired. I can't wait to see this happen in my business. Like, I can't wait to start like having a better mindset or making more money or whatever the programs that you have bought. Yeah, once the excitement wears off, you're left with admiring the people that have achieved what you just bought, but it's never clear on how you can do it, and it never becomes that. It just becomes another program that bites the dust. And I don't want this program to be that for you. How about, instead, you begin to understand that the healthy responder mindset, and you can see how one thing leads into another. One belief trickles down into the next. And psychologists will call that the aha moment, or like the aha, there's like not a moment, but like There's a correct scientific verbiage for it that I don't remember. And this is a choice that you have every day. Like, for example, when I first came into the online space, I didn't know my ass from my elbow. Okay? Like, yeah, I've been dabbling in the online space, but I didn't have a clear map. I didn't have an outline. I didn't know anything. I knew nothing, quite literally. Like, I had to learn how to sell. I had to learn how to launch. I had to learn how to put together offers. The reason why I have been able to scale as quickly as I have is because every single day I'm a student. I'm like, okay, I don't know shit. Let's learn. Let's study this. Let's implement this. Let's put this together. Every day you have a choice from the moment that you wake up. Do you snooze your alarm in the morning? And if you do, that's totally fine. But you have a choice not to. Do you lose your cool on your husband because he's being so incredibly annoying? You can choose not to. Like, it's all a choice. Like, the moment that you become self-aware enough with smaller things, like, I always take a second to respond. The other day, well, this is like a week ago, the time of the month, okay? I'm a monster. Emotionally, once that time of the month rolls around, this whole mindset thing goes out the window, right? I can preach and talk about it right now. Just kidding. It doesn't, but it almost did. I was at a grocery checkout line, and I almost lost my shit on this woman. Like, came so like I was ready to throw hands and go to jail. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into what the scenario was. It was ridiculous. It was so stupid that on a good day, I would not even have entertained it. I'd be like, okay, whatever. Catch me on a bad day, it could be different. But the point being is I was able to catch myself. Like, I went off, and I don't really like cause a scene in public. Like, I'm not that type of person. I almost did. But I had a choice. I knew subconsciously, I'm like, will this matter? Like, will this situation matter in 30 minutes? What I'm about to do and say, will that actually make a difference? No. No. It won't. So what did I do? I kept my mouth shut. I was pissed. I was fuming. It was a choice. I could have lost my cool. I could have said the nastiest things under the sun to this woman, but I didn't. That takes an active choice, an act of like self-awareness to realize that. The moment that you want to tell your kids to shut your goddamn mouth, hopefully there's no kids around, or you just like want to yell at them, you can choose not to. And there's other habits and things that come into play. Like, when I brought an example of a student not paying like an invoice, right? Like, if there's an outstanding invoice, money things happening, bank account low, what are the active steps that you can take towards it? I am the one. I am the one. Imagine, I have another scenario for you. Imagine you sign up with a new mentor, and it's been a few days, and you guys have your first call. You signed up, you're so excited, like you can't wait, like, oh my God, it's gonna be amazing. And the call starts, and she asks you all of these questions that you don't really have answers for. And you put yourself into a reactor mode, aka fixed mindset. Your ability is on the line. You feel the tension. You feel your ego bristle and waver. What are you thinking and feeling? Like, you're on the call and she's asking you, and you're like, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe you're thinking, why is she coming at me? I wasn't even prepared for this. Is she challenging me? Very like, I'm gonna throw hands, right? You're very on guard immediately. You're like, what is going on here? Why is she approaching me like this? Versus responder mindset would understand that I hired her for help. these questions will actually help me, although I don't have an answer right now. I'm new. I'm here to learn. Let down your guard. Roll your shoulders back. Feel the tension leave. And let yourself be a student. An active choice. It's all a choice, always. The choice is the most important part. But to have the self-awareness that there is a choice every single day for you. We almost forget that. Because you know what? Habitually, like, we're creatures. Like, we are, like, habitually want to find a way to word this. We're habitual creatures. There we go. It took me a second. Where a lot of the things from a subconscious level that you are doing today actually is carried on from yesterday, the day before, and literally a whole life. The things that you believe in, the things that you entertain, how you respond. Unless you're actively choosing to learn something new today, you showing up to this call, you taking in different information. Like, I actively choose to learn. Like, this is, I don't know, 10% of my books that I own. I actively choose to learn and implement, listen to books. Sometimes it's spicy romance with monster peens. And then other times it's, I don't know, like sales, emotional intelligence, right? I'm a woman of both, right? We love a variety. I'm a woman of variety. But the point of the whole like conversation is you have the choice, but you have to actively like look and understand that you have a choice. The message like to all of this is like you can change your perception on matters that will help you change your mindset and how you respond. And something that I have always thought about is success about learning or proving that you're smart? Is success about learning or proving that you're smart? Because what actually makes someone a non-learner? Is that a word? I think it is. Because everyone is born with the intense drive to learn and conquer. Like I said, that's who we are as species before. Think of babies, just for example. They're never like, it's too hard to walk, so we don't. It's too hard to speak, so I won't. Right? That's not even a thing that crosses their mind. Because we become afraid of failures when we're able to evaluate and recognize the risk versus reward aspect of ourselves. And that's where like the maybe critical parents come in. This is maybe a critical spouse comes in, right? Like obviously I'm like bringing babies as an example, but us as adults, like at what point is like the risk not worth the reward? Or would you rather pretend that you know something that you don't in order to save your ego and preserve your self-proclaimed identity? Ain't that interesting? And then the last part to all of this is maintaining all of that change. Because what ends up happening is you walk away from this class and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be more self-aware. I'm gonna notice these patterns play out with my students in my personal life, like how I'm responding. For example, this morning, I have a dog named Sunny. If you're new here and you don't know, she's the literally highlight of my life. She was so annoying this morning. So incredibly annoying. Like I just woke up. She does this thing where she like starts stretching and like yawning really loudly to like make sure that everyone and their mom knows that she's awake and ready to rally. And today is like kind of my day off. Like obviously I'm teaching, but like on Sundays I don't know, I wake up a little bit later, like 5:30, 6 o'clock instead of usually I'm up at like 4 a.m. And immediately frustration. I was like, oh my God, you're so annoying. I literally ignored her. That's all I did. Called me a bad dog mom. I ignored her and she stopped. because she normally is very used to getting what she wants, because what do? I give her exactly what she wants. She knows she can literally get away with killing someone and be like, it's okay, baby, we'll figure it out. I'll go to jail. But this morning I was like, no, woosah, you can still sleep in. Like, you don't have to get up and make it this like whole ordeal that you don't need to. Sleep a little bit longer. So I did, and she stopped yawning. Because she was like, okay. She's not waking up. Maintaining all of this, as I said. Once a problem improves, or once like your communication improves, once your boundaries improve, once your identity improves, and like people start to treat you a little bit different with more respect, and just in order you're able to have like a handle on your emotions, people often stop doing what actually caused it to improve. Like, even think of diets, right? You want to lose, I don't know, 20 pounds. You do all the things that you need to do to lose weight. You lose weight and you gain it all back because you didn't do the work in order to maintain it. It's a vicious cycle. Or once you feel better, you stop taking your medicine. Or once you start making money in your business, you slip into entitlement and think that's how it should be anyways. Just like stop doing the money-making activities in your business. Your changes have to be supported in order to sustain them. This is why I don't believe in fast anything. This is why I don't sell you fluff. This is why I don't sell you a 3-step method, whatever, to something. Because it's not sustainable. This is why a lot of weight loss programs are not sustainable. Why do you think it takes, and I like kind of hate using this example because I think our like education system is hot, stinky garbage, but it makes sense in this example. Why do you think that it takes 4 years to achieve a college degree? Why do you think it takes 8 years to become a doctor? Why do you think it takes an X amount of time to do all the big things that you want to do? You want to have healthy relationships, you want to make more money, you want to grow your business, you want to have a better mindset, and we think we can just do it in like a 3-step method system and have it? It doesn't make sense, right? But Instagram has a really great way of selling from a rose-colored glass lens, selling you the yachts and the Rolls Royces and like all the things, and I hate it because it's all garbage. The things that you desire and the things that you want in your business and in your life happen when you start actually paying attention to what you're doing and building your self-awareness. Building your self-awareness is literally like the first thing. For example, I think we all can raise our hand here that we have been in an awful relationship before. Or maybe you haven't, and I fucking love that for you. But pretend that you have, just to follow the story if it doesn't apply to you. You've been in a shitty relationship, and you're like, if he would just change, if he would just do this, blah, 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 like, it would all be great. But somehow we like never take into accountability our part in it and why we're staying in that horrible relationship. Ever thought of that? Like, when I look back and like I have a very specific relationship that it's in mind, I was also part of the problem, but a lot of the times we don't think we're the problem. We like to be like, no, it's him, he did that, can you believe him? Because it like justifies that you're the good person in the relationship. Which, it's not like that you're bad. But why you're staying with somebody that you know treats you like shit? What does that say about you? This has to do with self-awareness, level of emotional intelligence, level of like respect, even to like know better that you don't deserve to be. And like then you say that to like, oh, I don't deserve this. Yeah, we kept on going back to that person, but we don't deserve it. Ain't it interesting? So why do we do that? It has to do with us. It's us. Like, we're the problem 99.9% of the times. I've always said this, and like something that I kind of like live by, just like in my business and like in my personal life too. I am not necessarily loyal to people, but I'm loyal to principles. If the principles align, then yes. And I feel like that has been able to really like separate my what I think should happen, how I think people should treat me, like how I think life should go, how I think business should be. And I've been able to have like a really clear lens around like who I am and the part that I play in people's lives and in my business. But speaking of that bad like relationship, that was my first aha moment. That was my first like building step to self-awareness. And I remember I watched the video on YouTube. I think it was like toxic relationships, because I'm like, why am I in this situation again? What is going on? Because I'm like, I know that I don't deserve it. Like, I don't think I'm a bad person. And I think nobody thinks that they're a bad person. And I genuinely like, it's not that I was a bad person. I just didn't have any self-respect for myself. And I thought I did. But my expectations were very low at that time. So I was like 22. But that was my building block of like self-awareness and really just like looking into it. And I remember like watching the video too. And like the video basically said that like you are the problem. Like you choose to stay in this situation, although the person is continuously showing you their like true character, and you're like, la di da di da. No, he's great. Like when we have our good days. Hopefully I'm not triggering any like PTSD from like a horrible relationship, but I was queen like, well, when it's good, it's really good. Carol. Okay, well, like when it's good is not enough. But it took me a really long time to realize that. So that was the first like self-awareness, like building block for me. And more often than not, the moment that you clean up your personal life is when it actually trickles into your business. I talked about that in one of my other masterclasses. I forget which one it was, but once you clean up your personal life, you notice that trickle into your business and the decisions that you're making in your business. Because it's really hard to have a sound business, like a clean boundaries, like clean anything, when your personal life is hot, stinky garbage. When in your personal life you are, like catering to people or being part of situations that is like not serving your like best self. Like it's not really making you grow. It's not really making you like change anything. You're just like part of this like shitty cycle. And to finish the conversation off is the whole compound effect of it all has like over time of you choosing different, when you could choose to be a lunatic, when you could choose to freak out, when you could choose to say the shitty thing, when you could choose to not go, when you could choose to sleep in, when you could choose to have one more drink, like all of those choices and you choosing different, like all like the change that it has over time, the compound effect. Because you cannot compete with someone that actively chooses to grow instead of sulk or drop the whole poor me mentality. You cannot compete with somebody that actively chooses to grow instead of pull the whole poor me mentality. This is why some people are like further ahead. This is why some people can just like deal with life and just like let it go and move on. And you can just like see how it's like up, instead of like it's very choppy. But in the beginning phases of your like mindset journey, like your self-discovery, your self-awareness, your inner power, it's going to be very choppy. There's certain things that you're going to be able to clock in your relationships and in your business that you're like, no, this is not how we're going to do it anymore. And then you're going to have certain lessons, like kind of like karmic loops almost, that you need to learn over and over and over again until it's like, okay, you're done. You learn the lesson. Whoop-de-doo, next level. Because there's always levels to this. But the compound effect is what has helped me build the business that I have. It has helped me become the woman that I am. I am the one. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this masterclass as much as I enjoyed. talking about it. This is going to be probably a program down the line. I wanted this to be very like tangible and something that you can take away and apply immediately. So the whole goal, the homework, and something to pay attention to is your patterns and how you respond in stressful situations. Who you are when stress happens, who you are when kids are screaming, who you are when somebody cuts you off, who you are when your bank account goes into negative, who you are when your mother-in-law is literally like you're at the last wit's end, like who you are when students are not signing up, like who you are in all of that is what's actually going to strengthen your mindset. Because anyone can be good when things are good, right? You're not stressed about anything. But your character, when shit hits the fan, that's who you integrally are. Being able to strengthen and move those situations is going to make it a lot easier to get to that next level. So the compound effect of choosing instead of reacting, you want to respond instead of react and give yourself a second to think. Whatever the situation is, give yourself that time. Don't react immediately. Give yourself 10 seconds. Is this worth it? Is this worth it? Okay, I hope you guys have the best day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.